Welcome everybody to OSCAM Speak Sessions Meet Encourager. My name is Arantxa Oosterwolde, and this coming few weeks I am having amazing conversations with amazing people. And today I have the pleasure to be in conversation with one of the biggest pioneers in the Dutch ballroom scene. By having this conversation, we want to make ballroom even more known in the Southeast, even in the whole Netherlands.
Yeah.
And yeah, by giving the biggest pioneer a spotlight. And today, I'm with this fabulous person. So who are you and what pronouns do you carry? And if I may ask, how do you identify yourself sexually?
Dun, dun, dun. Work. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. First of all, thank you for having me. To start, I am Amber Vineyard. Do I look into a camera?
Duh.
I don't know. I am mother of all mothers, Amber Vineyard. I'm the pioneer of the Dutch ballroom scene and mother and founder of the first ball house, the House of Vineyard.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and many other things. How I identify, that's a fun question. I'd say its pronouns would be she, her, they, them, and daddy, depending on the context. And how I identify is tough because I'd consider myself a non-binary, polyamorous switch. Don't ask me to make any decisions.
Yes.
Open to all.
I love that. And can you tell us a little something about the ballroom scene and for who is it for? For the people who do not know the ballroom scene, tell us. And obviously your role in the ballroom scene.
Yeah, well, I happen to be the pioneer of the Dutch ballroom scene, and that's because we count the ballroom scene starting when the first ball happened. Okay. And I threw the first ball in 2013, and that's the first event that was called House of Vineyard, hence that's where the name came from. But the ball scene actually there's so much history, because it goes back, started in New York City, in Harlem, and it was created by and for Black, brown, queer, and transgender non-conforming people. And it's a space, it was the safe haven. If we think back, it started with drag balls, and at a drag contest, we're judging beauty, judging the grace, judging outfits. In that space, only white queens would win, so the queens of color could never have a chance. So therefore, Crystal LeBeja had it, and that's kind of the history where she started the first ball, and that's through the years and through evolution of many things. Ballroom was created, and you have many different categories where all works of life can participate and find that inner thing that makes them special and walk a category relating to that and earn trophies. And you do that together with your house.
So, and you have a house yourself?
Yes, I am the mother of the House of Vineyard, and it's the first Dutch house. Because you see, most houses are all coming from New York City, so that's the mecca of ballroom. And ballroom only came over to Europe around 2008 is when events started happening and people were actually teaching, and things started really drastically spreading. Where was I? Oops, now I'm losing my train of thought, guys.
So
there's
your
so
own
much
house,
information.
Obviously.
Yeah, so I started my own house, and that's because, with all the history and legacies that we're carrying in ballroom are from the States. I don't know, being over here, I feel like we always talk about the history of the States and why it's so necessary in the States. And I don't think we're having enough conversations of why it's necessary here also. We need these safe spaces, and houses are also necessary. And I feel like, we have our own stories to tell. We have our own legacy to build. Yes. So that's why, together with Ellie Vineyard, the father of House of Vineyard, we're like, you know what? Let's take this journey on and let's build our own legacy here in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Amazing. And how does the ballroom scene offer that safe haven to queer people?
Yeah, well, it's first of all one space, as queer people and queer people of color especially, coming together in one space, like finally looking around you and thinking like, yeah, I fit in here.
Yes.
I think that's part of the biggest liberating thing is like, you know what, I don't have to like have that fear of looking over my shoulder and who's looking and who's watching and who's gazing. I can just unapologetically be.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so that's really special about ballroom, and it's everything in one. It's also, it's art, it's expression, it's beauty, it's joy, it's healing, it's therapy, it's drugs.
So take us to like a ball. What happens in a
At
day?
a ball. So at a ball you have houses. I'm getting a sign. Bam. Are we?
We need to.
Are we
hear
good,
her.
Bram? Are we good? Okay.
We good.
So at a ball, you have usually a house throws a ball,
Okay.
and what happens is you create categories. Other houses, you come and gather at a ball, and you walk the categories representing your house. On the runway, you walk in front of a panel of judges. The judges rate your performance. You can either get 10s or chopped. So it's a tough.
What's a chop for the people?
A chop
watching?
is basically you have to imagine like you prepare months for your outfit and you walk in front of the judges your 10s. You have to show yourself. And basically the judges are looking for hesitation. They're looking for like, do you doubt yourself? Because on the runway, it's all or nothing. Like you own everything and have to unapologetically be. So judges, if they either feel it or not. If they don't feel it, if one of them doesn't feel it and one of them says like, you know what, I'm not believing it, it's not your night tonight, then it's a chop, which means you're completely disqualified from the category.
Like done.
Yeah, it's done. And it's only one person. And can you imagine, we have sometimes panels where there's 12 people. So you have to get everybody has to say, give you your 10s to go to the next round. And when you go to the next round, you're battling another house member and competing to the grand prize. And then you snatch your trophy.
Amazing. I love it. And
Yes. So you have the houses that come together, you have the DJ, of course, you have the MC, and you have the judges, and then you have the audience, and then you have yourself walking. And I feel like it's all intertwined, it's all working together as one big organism, if that makes sense.
Amazing. I love it. And for example, to see what the role is of, because we're talking about obviously queer people, so what is the role of straight and cisgender identifying people in the ballroom scene?
That's a very great question. Well, role, I feel like it's more of a guest, ally. I think it's important to, as Vaughn Allure always said, know your place and earn your spot. But we have to also understand how there's so many straight people, how there's so many white cis people participating in ballroom. And a lot of it has to do with the history of how things came to Europe. A lot of us talk about New York and being the space, but we have to remember that people went outside of this space and started teaching in places. So in Europe, the first places that, can you imagine, like, who has money to fly over icons and legends and to teach? So it's places with money. And those being like dance camps and dance schools. So, and who is going to dance camp and dance schools? Majority is going to be cis, straight, white women. So when you had all throughout Europe in dance camps, people learning about voguing. And I was there. So I've seen it, I watched it. I remember meeting my ballroom father and being in a dance class. And I feel like maybe me being from the States had something also to do with it, because I could identify with people from the States and I understood that what they were teaching, and okay, this is more than just a dance. So I feel like it's from there, when you're young and you're being inspired and your mind is being open for the first time, you get excited, you know, you see something new, you get inspired, you get curious, and yeah, you start to dig deeper and dive into understanding. And I think there were some people who took that and went home to their country and thought, okay, I want to dive deeper into this and give back to the community and involve the community. Whereas you had some people that take it and think, I'm going to make a cute choreography and make money and feel hot.
That's definitely.
And that's that.
Yeah.
So but that's going to come when people are passing over a culture.
Yes.
And that's coming with it. And I think it's our job to continue educating, and I feel like ballroom can be a place that is open to all. I think the ballroom community is the one place that is open to all. I feel like it's important that we have spaces that are actually only for queer, trans, and gender non-conforming people of color. We should have those, but we should also have spaces that are open to all, because I feel like there's a lot that people can learn and grow and find themselves in such a space.
I totally agree. And then to hop into that, like, what can cities or even, you know, the whole Netherlands do to get that education or to be more involved in making the scene bigger for people who might not fully understand what the scene is about?
Yeah, I think so much is education. I personally feel that, you know, I've spent teaching in a lot of different spaces, and I've seen the power of what it is that we're doing and what it gives to the freedom and space that it gives people. So even just at youth centers, like, they should bring people from the community to talk about what we're doing. There's like a community center or
spaces like this.
Spaces within, where there is community there, and maybe hasn't tapped into it yet or doesn't know. Because I've met so many people who have no idea that our community is here. They have no clue.
Like no
They'll
clue
see
at
pose
all.
and then they're like, wait, this is in the Netherlands? I'm like, this is actually here. So you can find us.
Literally.
And there is that place that you can find a home.
Amazing. And looking at, you know, we're now in the southeast of Amsterdam, and to look at the people of the southeast, do they contribute to the ballroom scene, or do they play any role in the ballroom scene?
Well, I think one of the things that we miss is space.
Okay.
If there's one thing that I feel like cities could do, is to create a space. I know that's like a dream of mine. I think not only just for my house, because I am a mother and pioneer. I think not only about my house, I think about our community as a whole. And I feel like I would love to have a house for all houses, a home for all houses, a space where houses could come, you know, you could pick your day, you know, we can delegate who's on which day, you have your house training day, you can have like a kitchen area where you can have like house dinners, you know, so, because it's so hard to do that sometimes in your own home because it's small, or kids have student houses or whatnot. So like a house outside of their own, a home for all houses.
Yeah.
Boom.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, so they can throw balls there and really just have like a community center where you can hang out and be.
So hearing you, like, there are definitely not enough spaces where this can happen.
No. So, and it's also money.
Yes.
You know, these things are not easy to come by. But luckily there's people in the neighborhood like FA, you know, who is a huge support, and definitely is a place that, you know, they just had facilitated a ball not too long ago, and that's beautiful that that's happening here in Southeast. And I think a lot of people responded great to it.
Yeah. I was there. It was amazing,
Yeah.
to say the least. To say the least, it was really amazing. It's great to see that people come together and be there.
Yeah.
And see the different kinds of people who are there.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely amazing. So you were just talking about like one of the biggest dreams that you have, like having a house for all houses.
Yeah.
hopping into that, what are like more dreams and goals that you have for the ballroom scene in the Netherlands?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the biggest ones. Something that we can always go back to. I think we're invited a lot to different spaces to come here for a moment, come here, especially with diversity and inclusion being such like this word of the year. We're a lot of us are invited to perform places and show up places, but I worry about the future. I think about the future and where's a space that we can call ours, that we can fall back to. What happens when voguing is not so in right now, when everybody's not so into voguing right now. Everybody was into voguing when Madonna came around, and then everybody forgot about it and thought it was something that just phased. What is going to happen now that we're in the light again? At least now we're speaking and using our voices, and I think now more people understand where our community is from and how beautiful we are.
That's very important.
But we're being invited to all these places for a moment, and I want to have something solid for us. Yeah, and a space where people can also come to learn about ball culture and. For example, kids who might, don't know how to start and also want to be respectful and want to do things the right way, but how do you get involved? Where do you start? Well, then a space where you can start.
So how does that happen now, for example, when somebody like wants to get into ball culture, where do they go?
I think it's either going to a ball first or finding a community center. So for example, like at Nowhere, where we have the living room, where we teach classes, and I have classes, kids from the community teaching there. And then, for example, in Rotterdam, you also have like the ballroom arena, and they have people teaching. So I think it's about finding the community, reaching out, because in the end, well, all of us are very like super. If you're really interested and really respectful and want to dive into what we're doing, a lot of us are super open and happy to show
and learn.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Share.
Exactly,
Yeah.
learn and share and exchange and there's no clubs right now, so it's really tough to meet people.
That must be a problem as well, right?
It's huge, yes. So the one place that you can kind of gather and be with community is in maybe a youth center like this where we're teaching, because there's not really much else we can do. And even throwing balls, like we haven't been able to throw balls this past time. Yeah, so it's been either we did like the online versions.
But it's not the same,
it's not the fucking same.
right? You don't have like that real connection.
Yeah.
That's, I think, really hard. So you were talking about like the classes that they were giving.
Yeah, so people can come to classes.
So what kind of elements do they teach, or what can people learn and see there?
At class, we have, let me think. At class, you have Shiva Mugler is teaching New Way. You have Jojo Mugler teaching Runway. You have Gabby Princess Vineyard is teaching Vogue Femme. You have Suzume from Belgium, and she's teaching Pop, Dip, and Spin. So you have a lot of different things that you can tap into. I always tell people, take a class from everybody and just find like what you feel. I think each of us have something that inside that it's like, sometimes when you meet your house mother, your mother usually can tell you like what your category is, or you feel what your category is.
So if I say it right, like the elements are also like tied to a category.
Yeah, like sometimes. I think pieces of you are tied to a category.
I love this.
And that's super exciting to see. And it's fun to watch people develop those talents along their journey within ballroom, and they take that to the outside world, which is beautiful.
Important, yeah. And to get back to the elements, like, can you tell us a little bit more about what the elements are? So you're talking about New Way, you're talking about
different performance styles. You have, a lot. Like, you have to imagine, we had our first ball in 2013, and with 2 categories. That was runway and open to all Vogue performance. And then now there's categories are up to like 60 categories. And from categories under fashion, categories under body and face, categories on sex appeal and performance. So in performance, you have the old way, the new way, the Vogue Femme, which is the most popular now. Yeah, there's tons of them. If you have questions, guys, you can also maybe ask.
Type them in the comments, you know, no filter, you can ask anything. Because I do understand, like, a lot of people have no idea what everything is about. And like you're saying, you get invited to places just to be there for a moment, to show, like, what everybody knows and then just go. So I do think it's very important for people to know, like, what kinds of things that you do, for example, at a ball, or what kind of things that you practice.
Yeah. Well, it's tons.
So where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start? Where do we fucking start? Yeah. Yeah, you have so many different elements you could do. So it depends on what you're into. Yeah. So
it really depends.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're into fashion, and then I would suggest walking runway. And
then what do you do when walking runway, for example?
For a runway, you would walk the category, you walk like a supermodel. So it's about walking like a runway diva. Yes, and you have to outshine the other bitch on the floor. And when I say bitch, I mean beautiful, intelligent, talented, charismatic human being. Yes. So don't get it twisted.
I love it. I love to see how there is space and a place for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But I do think it's important that for guests and outsiders who do come into the space to understand and acknowledge the history of ballroom, where it comes from, and who it is originally for, and to be mindful of that space that you take, for sure. You know, when people say they're so into voguing right now, and they want to be part of voguing right now, and they're outside our community, it's always, there's that saying of like, look, if you're going to be so into voguing, that means then you're going to be so into the people that also created it. So if you're into voguing, that means that you sign a lifetime contract that Black Lives Matter, and there's no question about it. So I think if anyone is teaching, that these are things that you also talk about in class. It's not just, this is the movement, this is how you do it. It's, okay, this is where it comes from, this is what it's for. Are you signing up for that? Then we can move forwards.
I love that thought. So does that also happen in classes?
That needs to happen in classes.
That needs to happen
I think it needs to happen in classes. And it's something I think over time, I also had to realize, like, that's not understanding, you know, also in that time of first learning and first receiving it. I wish that someone said that to me in the beginning when I first learned it. So I just know now that's something I want to give to the next generation and the kids coming after, like, understand where this comes from. It's just not even going to help you in your own performance, but it's going to help you in your life in general.
So how was that process for you? So you're saying, like, looking back, I now have so much more knowledge. Like, how did that?
Yeah, well, looking back, I would never plan to be a mother. I never planned to have a house. I never planned. It wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, I'm going to be a mother and pioneer of a whole... No, it was just, I did what I loved to do. I did what I wanted and I needed. And when I met my ball father, it gave me the sense of belonging, and like this light bulb or this switch happened. And I just knew whatever he gave to me, that was my purpose. I have to do that. He just shook the room. He just switched everybody in the room. You felt something's change, and I wanted to do that. So it was like, well, I need to give everything he gave me to the people that I love and my surroundings in the Netherlands. And just by that, things just blossomed and grew. And before you knew it, people are like, oh, your house, you're the mother of the pioneer. And it's like, wait, how did we get here?
How?
Yeah, how did we get here? But now we're here. And what are we going to do?
I love
it. You know, we're gonna feed it, and
so you're not the only house in the Netherlands,
no,
right?
definitely not. So now there's multiple houses, and if you're not part of a house, then you're a 007. And a 007 means you're a free agent within the community, so you're not affiliated with the house yet. So if you walk a ball, they're chanting 0000. Yeah, so maybe you heard that.
And then they can also like become a part of a house, or how does that
Yeah,
happen?
so then other houses know when 00 walks, then you, then you know that they're not in a house, so they could possibly be snatched. Maybe other houses could be interested. Maybe the person walking is interested in a house. Yeah.
And then they can just.
So then a house could pick you up, depending on what you all want, because every house has different things and expectations and visions, and I think every person has their own, so you have to find the house that fits those
things. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
So what does
'cause
a
that's the
house?
fan.
Yeah. So what does a house offer to like their children?
Yeah, I think every house is different. I know for my own house, I have a different relationship with each of my kids, but we're very traditional in that sense of like this is my chosen family. Like that is my fam. That is them. It's them, and that's it. So
You literally light up when you talk about your kids.
I love the fam, and for us, it's really about empowerment. I know for House of Vineyard, it's serving to empower not only each other but the community, especially because we were paving the way in the beginning, and inspiring imagination and pushing some of those boundaries and creating those changes, even within ballroom, expanding things, creating new categories, creating spaces.
Literally creating spaces.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So how many kids are in your house?
Right now, we're a total of 23.
23.
Yes, total of 23.
That is, and growing.
And growing slowly.
Amazing.
But now you have other houses. You have so many. Yeah, you have. I don't want to miss anybody. So it's always like But you have you have the Muglers, you have the Prodigies, you have the Garçons. Yeah, you have the Ninjas. I'm like, who am I gonna miss? Oh God, Gorgeous Gucci's.
There's so many.
There's so many now, yeah.
And growing.
And growing. So it's really beautiful to see. The Milans, yeah.
And so talking about houses, like can anybody start a house? Like how does that process go?
For me, anyone can start. It's like, will you survive? That's the thing. So you can start, but are you doing the work it's a lot of work. These houses have legacies behind them and have been together for years, and people have been representing that legacy for years. I'm a baby, and we started officially in 2014, officially.
A year after the first ball.
Yeah, a year after the first ball. Then we became, we are now an established house.
Okay.
And that's due to my mentors and the people guiding me. So my house father, Lysandra, even pushed me to you should start your own house. Holland should do something.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah.
You can, but
what does that mean for you? I know what it meant to me, and I know what it means to Ellie, and I know what it means, and I knew what was going to come with that, and I knew the hard work that's going to be. Yeah. But I strongly believe in the European scene and our stories and our legacy. So I believe in the kids, and yeah.
I love that. And how is the European ballroom scene different from, for example, the States? Are there a lot of differences?
Well, first of all, the ball scene in the States, the European scene is forever in debt to the States because the States is where it started. But it's interesting to see how now more European houses are beginning to start. That's fascinating to see, because I'm curious how the future will be in that. And then we'll have European houses. I'm curious for the moment where the European houses will travel to the to the States, and the States will compete with, it's very fascinating to see where things will go and grow to.
So does that already happen? That doesn't happen yet now?
Yeah, you have people who travel from the States and come out here and blow everybody away. Yeah,
that happens.
You have that. But what's happening now is the scene is, we're young. People forget how fucking young we are. We're babies over here in Europe. The fact is we just have more, more social media, more ways of getting video and footage out there than we used to. So balls are happening every month somewhere. Something's happening in Europe. Whereas back in the day, a ball would happen once a year.
Here in Europe?
Well, I mean, even in the States. Wow. So if we think about how fast things are growing, it's fast, but we have to remember we're still a baby in this, and we have so much to continue to learn and grow. And I think it's important to realize we still need to have that input from the elders and people before us to keep the essence of what we're doing alive.
Yeah. Amazing. So how often do balls happen, for example, here in Europe now, comparing?
Yeah, well, now with COVID,
a lot less.
Yeah.
But it's coming slowly.
Yeah, definitely. We just had a ball last week at Kunsthal, which by Yamuna and Seven, which was Utopia ball. So we just had that, and that was the first time. Oh no, after we still had the Black Pride ball by Perry and Zelda. So you had that. So that was the first time that everybody could come together.
Yes.
And then I know we had the measurements kicked in again, and then the ball on the 17th. And there was one in FA as well.
Yes.
That people could gather, right?
Yeah.
So I think with 100 people.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah, something like this. So they're coming. They're small.
Small and small.
Yeah, and it's so good, and it's so nice to come together with everybody.
Exactly. So how did that happen with all the COVID happening, not balls having to be there? How did you get together in those periods of times?
I know it was tough for everybody.
It was very tough.
So I think just online. There was people throwing online functions, which was kind of cute.
You had one as well, right?
Yeah. I didn't. Well, I did an online function, yes, but there was online where people literally participated from online. So with mine, I did one where it was all with distance in a space where everyone who was part of the community could come inside and walk, and all spectators had to be outside. So we did this, and it's cute, but it's just not the same thing.
Not the same energy.
But it was nice just to have a touch. Just
of
a
it
touch
again. Yeah. So the Black Pride ball was here in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And you were there as well.
Yeah.
How was that? How was the reaction
everything.
of the people of the Southeast?
It was everything. Well, the thing is, I wonder how some of my kids experience walking. I worry sometimes people walking home. I think it's important that we stay in groups. But when we're at a ball, we're at a ball. The people who would have a problem with us are not there.
Not there.
So that is our safe place, and that is where we can be. I think it's important that we have these. We continue to throw balls, and we continue to be visible, even though it could be a bit because it's also there's danger when it comes to visibility. But at the same time, when we're visible, others who might not know that there's another way of life could actually see and be like, hey, actually I'm not alone. There are people for me.
Yes.
And that's important. So we need more.
More of that, definitely. Yeah. And more available spaces to throw those balls at, definitely in places like this. Yes. So you were talking about for example, your kids walking home. Yeah,
well, those after a ball reality. The realities of the world are there. So we can go to a ball and we can escape everything and we can live our best fucking lives. But in the end, after a ball, there's the reality of you go back home. You have to, or work or whatever it is that you have to deal with in regular life as a queer person, and especially of a queer trans person of color.
Yes.
So, yeah. Those are things that's the reality, and that's why it's so important that we have the spaces that we do.
Those spaces to go to, because it still happens a lot.
Of course, yeah, and which most people don't think about.
At all.
No, so.
I totally understand. And just to get back out of the role of the people in Southeast, do you, for example, have kids who live in Southeast in your house, or do you know people from Southeast participating?
Yeah, there's a lot of kids from the community, more and more from Southeast, and I hope to see more. Yeah, and I think there should be something that pops up here. Something needs to happen, guys. Who's going to do it?
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important. So I think maybe people are like kind of scared to also be a part of it, maybe?
Could be. I've heard from people tell me, yeah, you know, I've seen you guys all sit together and you guys just look so cool. Like, it's like we can't sit with you. So some people get intimidated so easy, you know, and what we do in ballroom is we practice to taking up space.
Yes.
In our society, we're taught so much to like stay
down.
small, tone down, don't be loud, don't be gay, don't be bright, don't be colorful, don't stand out, you know, do normal,
Less,
right?
yes.
Do
I
normal.
love that.
And in ballroom, it's the opposite. It shows you, it teaches you how to use your voice, how to take up space, how to walk in a room, how to, have that confidence and the confidence that you need to walk down the fucking street to be, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is also maybe, like you were saying, that people are just like intimidating by not being able to do that.
Yeah, and they want to do that. I think we all do. I think when we're all at home in our mirrors and feel very comfortable, we're maybe lip singing and doing the most in our mirrors by ourselves. But why can't we be like that when people are watching? I think ballroom really teaches us that and brings that confidence. That's really important for survival.
So. Literally survival.
Yeah.
So you were talking about also the ball that was at Kunsthal. You also have an exhibition there.
Yeah.
About the ballroom scene.
Yeah, I had the privilege to help curate everything, and yeah, it was amazing. It's so cute because we have this book from Chantal Renaud that all of us, when it's someone's birthday, you try to get that book. But it was all her photographs are on exhibition there. So she's a photographer that was with the houses and the mothers and was very close with them in the 80s. So taking pictures from balls, at the parks, just really you see that home, you see the family. And yeah, the behind the scenes at the ball, it's really beautiful. And then we featured, people from the community here. So like Gabby, Aitana, Dizzy, they're showcasing the elements. You had Otalie Matters, who's been working on a documentary, who's been following the community for now at least 4 years. A lot of like screen prints of her work, and Coco Rosa was one of the photographers who's been doing pictures all over Europe at the balls.
Amazing.
So some of her work is there. So and even outfits from different people throughout the European scene. So it really was a pleasure to like bring this
together.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And it's also
to
the
see
part
that.
about visibility that you were talking about. Like it's so important in those spaces to show that you're there to stay.
Yeah, and we're there, and that these spaces work together with the community to tell those stories, to get it, to double check those things, because things can get really lost in translation.
And it's so important to bring it back again to the community to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I'm
I
happy
love
that we were able to even like give the space and have the community like take over. It was hot.
I love it. And documentary, I hear.
Yeah, there's a docu coming
something
out.
cooking.
Yeah, it's cooking. It's cooking. There's more to tell later. But something's cooking that we've been working on. So little snippets you can see in Kunsthal. And later, something magical we're working on is coming.
Yeah, it's so important to have those documentaries out who tell a story about this whole lifestyle, because that's what it's about. Literally a lifestyle.
Yeah, shoot. Saved my life.
For real. So did we had any questions from the guests coming in?
Oh,
So here we come.
there's a lot.
Oh, there is a lot. So.
There's a whole lot. That's great.
Oh, I love this one. I think you would love this one.
Oh, great.
What life lessons do you share with your children?
Oh, that's a really nice
Oh,
one.
I love that one.
What life lessons? Oh, God. What do I not share? Yeah, what life lessons do I share with my children? This is really good. Yeah, life is too short to be shy, baby. There's one.
For real.
Don't let one moment define you. No.
No.
Yeah. Ooh. These are going to pop up throughout everything.
They will come.
But yeah.
I love this one as well. Who was your role model and maybe is?
Oh my God. Well, I think Archie, my ball house father. So Archie is the grandfather of the House of Ninja, and he's who I told you, he's the reason when I do what I do. Like, I'm truly his daughter. Seeing him just be changed my, I don't know, just gave me insight to everything about me. And yeah, he's my role model, for sure.
I love this.
And of course, I live for like Dita Fonteese is like I'm a huge fan of like burlesque and stripping.
Stripping. I love it. And this one also like, do you have an idea on how to establish a home for all the houses? Like we talked about one of your biggest dreams.
Yeah, I need funding.
Hello. Hey, who's watching?
We're working on, we need funding. I want us to buy a building. I want us to own a place. Or the government to give us this space. I feel like it would be so rich for the city that if we can have this space where we can, sustain ourselves and where we can, as a community, bring in elders from our community to give back and teach. And yeah, there's so much life skills that you can learn within our ball community, practice within our community, and also take it outside. I do that myself. I work in entertainment. So most people think of me as like a ball house mother, and that's what I do.
There's so
but
much more.
I am so much more. I do a lot. But I take it kind of goes back and forth. So I use the talents that are within me. I build and challenge myself in the ball scene, and these things I explore, I take them into my commercial scene. So, and as a makeup artist or a stylist, an actress, a dancer, a performer, an MC, DJs.
Wow.
So all of the things that we use
it.
in ballroom, people go to school for these things. You know what I mean? So like, imagine if we were like our own, a new way of education. Yeah, I think
So many
far
ideas.
out. Yeah,
Love
but I
it.
like
A
a whole
lot.
like basically I would also as a teacher I've been teaching in so many different spaces, and one thing that I notice, regardless of how inclusive or diverse a space is, queer and trans people of color will always, I can feel like we need a space that's dedicated, like a queer dance school, a queer place of education,
Yes.
where queer people can learn queer history and queer art forms. Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
So
That
that's
would be major.
that's my dream. I would really like that. And then at night it turns into a strip club.
I love that.
That's the goal.
And do you think it will be good to have a home in the Southeast?
Yes, I think it would be great.
Oh.
It would be wonderful. Where are we thinking?
Yes, tell us. Tell us. Who's going to start
Right,
it?
where are we
Tell us.
thinking?
Well, I love this one as well. Like, as a mother, what is your responsibility? And I think the person means probably in the work field, in the ballroom scene, maybe over the kids.
Oh my God, mother. Yeah, well, the thing is, a lot of people ask, like, what is it like to be a mother? Or
Yeah.
like,
Where to start?
you know, if you think about just what a mother and a household, what does she not do? Like, so the mother is, I have to admit, you know, for me, sometimes I feel like, some people would say, like, you're like the father.
That's the
Father
daddy
role, yes, the
comes in.
daddy conversation. Because I work very hard, and I have a lot of like aspirations and goals, and I want to see my kids do well. I want to see my kids go places. So I try my best to spend that time. I love to like cook and be together, but at the same time, I'm also someone who's a provider. I want to see my kids. Most of my kids went to dance school or performing arts school, so they want to be performers.
Yes.
So if I can create those opportunities and spaces for them to excel and for all of us to win, hey, how cool is that?
Amazing.
So yeah, I'm also a momager, so it's not just a mother to my own house. It's crazy. I've kind of become a momager to a lot of people within the community, because we have so much talented people, and then I end up in spaces where there's these opportunities for, hey, we need artists, we need MCs, we need performers. Well, honey,
come to my house.
Like, let's go. Let's fucking go. So, okay.
So you also help them out.
Yeah, so there's people within the community that have so much fucking talent. Honey, and they're not in an agency or something. So how are these big commercial agencies going to find them? Like, no. We have to hook it up. So it's like, when there's a window of opportunity in a room, you say your friends' names, right?
Yes.
So that's how we kind of like uplift each other as a whole. Yeah.
A lot of responsibilities.
So there's momager things and just motherly things where it's just talking about life.
Being that listening ear.
Being there.
That shoulder.
Being there, yeah.
Being there.
And being the support that someone might need.
Yes.
And we all need different things, right? So some kids I don't need to talk to for months, and we see each other before the ball or we're training. It's like, okay, what's good? This is my outfit, great. And some of my kids, if I didn't talk to them for a week, it's like, where have you been? So sometimes I'm on FaceTime with Gabby, like here all the fucking time.
She loves to FaceTime.
Yeah, loves to FaceTime. And Ellie, I'm just close. We're all
close in your own ways.
Yeah. Yeah, and feed each other in different ways. And there's times we go out together and party together. Also like Dizzy and Sean, they work at Chin Chin now. Yes. So at the dinner show where I work now, my kids have jobs there.
Well. And the dinner show?
At the dinner show, yeah. So Tina was in the first dinner show. So my daughter was in the show. People from the community are all in the show.
In the dinner show, yes. So what is the dinner show about for the people who do not know?
The dinner show, so a lot of people, yeah, I'm a ballroom mother, but I also work in entertainment, and I love
to entertain.
Yeah, I'm an entertainer.
Yes.
And I've created this, it's a show that's really for the girls, the gays, and the theys, where straight men need to sit back and be the guests and behave. Yes. And it's a show really that's about empowering women and the divine feminine. So it's very sexy, it's very in your face, it's very powerful, and it grabs the audience
like that
by the balls.
Amazing. So that's what you do apart from...
Yeah. And it's nice that, so I try to involve the family in all of those things so we all can win.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so nice to see my kids on the floor. Yes. It's like, hey. I love it. In the show, I'll be like, Dizzy will give me a drink. And then I'll be like, give a round of applause for my son. And then of course, all these people are like,
son. How does that work?
Her body is amazing.
Love it.
Yes.
And what does a house have in common with a regular family?
Yeah, I think it's all the same, right? At least I consider it all the same. Maybe less drama. It really depends on your household.
It does.
For my household, the difference between is I have love, I have support, I can be my authentic self, and I am applauded for it. My family wants to see me win, and I think that's what family's supposed to do. So I think your chosen family is everything the same as your blood relatives.
Love that.
Yeah.
And this one is nice as well. Can we expect...
I love the questions, guys.
Yeah, really nice
Good
questions.
Oh.
No, mic check.
Mic check.
Can we expect to see more categories for lesbians in the ballroom?
Hey, yo! I love it. If you have an idea, don't be shy.
No.
Like really, if there's an idea, don't be shy. I remember, for example, the category Lion Babe is something that I created.
Yeah, your ball was one, right?
Yeah, so Lion Babe was created, and that's something because I missed that.
Yeah.
I love seeing masculine presenting women. I think hella sexy. Hello.
Yes.
And I'm a sex siren. So I walk female figure sex siren, and I love it. She is very much a part of me. And I love expressing this side, but I also love the other side. And, just being a ballroom mother and seeing sex siren, in sex siren, you have male figure, female figure, and you have male figure, but you have opposite of male figure, you have cat boy. So that's where you are a butch queen, walking sex siren with a feminine energy. So I kind of was like, okay, there's female figure sex siren.
Wow.
Okay, what could be the what cat boy is to male figure? What sex siren female figure? What could be that? So I thought cat boy, lion babe. I don't know. It just made sense to me. So then that was for butch lesbian studs, and I recruited a lot of people to walk it, and it's amazing how that's evolved and grown, and not only in Holland it exists, and now in other countries they are picking it up and doing it, so cool. And it's so dope to see. And then also Thorn, who most of everybody knows by now,
of course,
my superstar, Thorn coming out as non-binary and walking this category was also kind of like paving a way, because then non-binary people also felt like, oh wow, okay, this is a category for me that I could walk. But I have to admit, in that, things are always going to be evolving, right? So even with Lion Babe comes, there's that binary aspect of ballroom. So everybody who is walking Lion Babe till now has been non-binary trans-masculine. And I met someone who was non-binary trans-feminine, and that's when I was like, wait a second, we might need to add an extra layer to this, so we have a lion babe and a lioness. So it gets deep, it goes deep.
It really goes deep.
But it's great, that's what I love about ballroom, because we can always create space to celebrate everybody. So it's just, for me, I'm like, and this is what Jack always told me, one of my mentors, he always said, ballroom is evolving and categories will come and go. Yeah. So that's part of ballroom, the evolution of categories and what that means. So if there's not a category for you, if there's something that you want to express and you want to see, we make a category for it. Because there's probably other people in the room or in the space that would like, hey, actually, I relate to this. It's just like I always compare it to like all the alphabets in our queer soup, right? People are like, oh, another letter. It's like, yeah, why not? Okay, we add another letter. Boom. Another category. Boom. Let's go. Fun.
And is there like now, next to the lesbian categories, a category that you miss or you would like to add? Good question.
That's a good one, because I added the one I wanted. I love to see the twister categories.
And what is
twister category? So I remember, I think it was Ray did at Worm, this Kiki ball, and they put from cat boy, from cat to lion. Yes, from cat to lion in a Kiki, in Sex Siren. And it was the one place, I walked it for the first time, and it was the one place I was like, whoa, I can like literally be both in one space. This is
so basically
shit.
You walk a category where you have
I could present both sides.
Oh, wow.
So then I could walk female figure sex siren, and then when the beat switched, I have to switch energy. It is binary, so you have to switch from one to the the other. But
like literally within a split second.
hey guys. So like then when the beat drops, then you switch energies. And so I could be both. simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome. So these twister categories, I love to watch them. So you even have like runway, and then they're walking from American style to European style. So sexy.
Within the same.
So the beat's going, and then the DJ switches it, and then you have to switch immediately with energy. And it's amazing because I love to see how, it's just so funny. When you realize how society has shaped us and pushed us into these boxes of performativity when it comes to gender expression, once you break those things down, can become this fun playground of performance. And it makes everything very, I don't know, for me, it made everything very calm. Like, actually, I could be everything and one, and I could perform this and perform that when I feel this or that. Yeah.
And those categories, like you were saying, really help to destruct that binary that is so in the ballroom scene as well, which you were just saying, right?
Yeah, well, you have the ballroom scene is binary, point blank.
Point blank.
Like, that's because of how it started. Ballroom comes from about survival. So in order to survive, you have to pass in a binary world. So therefore, ballroom is based on male figures, female figures, and passing. And you get a trophy for passing.
Yes.
Hey, the real world doesn't do that.
For real.
Yeah, we also, cheers. But I think as the world is progressing and being a bit more open-minded, I think also the ball scene is going to be reflecting. The ball is reflecting society, so I feel like the ball scene will also reflect those things. And maybe, there'll be more non-binary categories, but then at the same time, ballroom is binary. So even as a non-binary person, I have this conversation where it's like, well, the category is male figure, female figure. That is the category. So there's people like, well, there's not a non-binary category, so now I can't walk. It's like, well, this is the ballroom scene. So there's two categories, pick one. So what are we gonna do? Maybe to some people that's harsh, but later down the line, we'll see how things evolve.
Well, that's very interesting to see.
But if everything is OTA, I also don't see that happening as great. Also, if every category is just open to all, I think it's also nice to celebrate our differences and not see them as like we all need to be one. No, we're all different. We're all different, and that's fucking awesome. So let's
celebrate that.
Yeah, let's put the light on that.
Let's have a sip on that. Is there anything you want to share or a life lesson you want to give to the people at home coming from the mother?
Oh, God. See?
Good one.
These things just come out sometimes when I'm asked, like, for them. Yeah. Like my father always says, put your drama in your dance and leave it on the floor. And like, so that's the first thing I can think of now. Yeah.
I love that. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your awesome knowledge, for being a guest to these amazing Speak Sessions.
Thanks
I had
for
a great time, and I think a lot of people learned so much.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thank you so much for being a part of this awesome conversation. And I also want to give thanks to Gemeente Amsterdam, to Fonds voor Zuidoost. And behind me, there's some awesome work hanging here. It's from Jurgen Chonafong. And he made these artworks, and it's called Hollandse Meesters, displayed here. So I'm very thankful that we could have this conversation in front of these awesome works. And thank OSCAM as well for providing us with this amazing space. And yeah, I'd love to see you back at the next speaking session, which will be next week. Same time.
Same place?
Same place.
Work.
Thank you so much.